right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. Yes, Jen, I know it's not morning everywhere. I'm your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching. With me, as always, is our marketing director, my co-host, and one of our other coaches, Jen Waybar. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, Adam.
And we've got a great guest for you guys today, a repeat guest. And for those of you that have been following us all these years, know that we're rather particular about who we let on the show and certainly who we let back on the show. But somehow this guy slipped through. Everybody welcome Jason Frazier. What's up, man?
Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
Well, and you've had a big year since we had you on the show. Last time we talked to you, you were living in Utah.
Yep.
So you've relocated. You're now in Atlanta, Georgia, or a suburb of Atlanta. So you probably had to give up the other 6 wives and keep just one. All right. That's a little jab at Utah, but all right. And not really sure everything I know about it is from the Big Love TV show, so I'm not going to get too far into that. But how is Atlanta other than, man, I imagine hot and humid?
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually the weather's been very, very good up and even now it's all right. But yeah, it's been hot and humid as of late. And I think I want to say we were just getting ready to leave Utah the last time I was on the show. So yeah, I did leave the other 6 wives behind and just picked my favorite and took her with me. But it's been a really good move, and we really enjoyed the area.
Good. And what prompted it? How does one end up in Georgia after being in Utah?
Yeah, so I mean, we kind of talked about it before. I was born and raised in California, as was my wife, and so when we moved to Utah, it's a little bit of a difference. It's quite a bit of difference, and we made some good friends there, and it was nice for a time, but it was time to get, for a change, and we were already leaning that way, and then I happened to join the fine family here at EPM as our chief strategy officer, and so with that came an opportunity to relocate to EPM's hometown, which is Atlanta, and we talked about it and decided, hey, it's a great opportunity for us and the kids, and just to be on the East Coast. We almost moved out to Virginia prior to Utah, and so it just all kind of fell into place, and it's been great.
Well, tell us about EPM and what they did to woo you out and what you're up to for them.
Yeah, I mean, to be candid with me, what EPM did was just allow me to be me. Prior to that, I worked for Cardinal, and Cardinal was a lot of great people there, a lot of great advocates and professionals dedicated to the wholesale channel. So don't get me wrong, but it was more of a corporate, I got to make sure I'm watching what I'm saying and doing, and yada yada yada. So it just wasn't for me, and that's not, anyone that knows me knows that that's not how I'm built. EPM gave me the platform and the opportunity to be myself and help grow them at the same time. So EPM's different. They do, and not just like, hey, we're different, we want to be a different lender and then just do the same shit all over again. Is they really are trying to be different, and it's not always pretty, and it doesn't always smooth. But I will say, when you're trying to change a tire on a car that's going 60 miles per hour, it's gonna be a little rough, and so we've been doing that. But I really love the culture here. I've been a part of, either as a consultant or working directly for a lot of different lenders, big lenders, small lenders, and I will tell you, there's no leadership team like the one we have here at EPM, and it's fun, and it's a lot of work, and just basically everything that I'm built for. So I couldn't have chose a better landing spot for myself.
And you got to ditch your filter.
Yes, I got to do.
Perfect. All right. So Jen and I know, just because we obviously, run in similar circles with you and the rest of the really badass mortgage originating community, that you guys had what looked like a pretty kick-ass event down in Atlanta last March. A bunch of our friends flew down there. What kind of content did they get out of that?
So we had it was the first in-person event for mortgage brokers this year, and it's the Broker Success Summit is the name of it, Broker Success. is an initiative that I started here at EPM for our broker community. And really what we wanted to do is have like, we didn't want it to call it be a conference, right? So we didn't have vendors, we didn't have sponsors or anything, even though class did donate. It was all for charity, right? So first and foremost, it was about bringing the community together. Everyone that I had talked to has like, look, when can we get back together? When can we do this? When we can do that? You know, we're part of the same group. So, you know, everyone was just clamoring to just get out and take a trip somewhere. And so we had an opportunity to do that. So we held the summit, and I invited, you know, a lot of broker friends of ours to come and speak, you know, so like, you know, Todd and Chastity, Ashley, Michelle, you know, Andre, you know, Evan, like a ton of just great brokers. But what we wanted to do was create something different, like an unconference, so to speak, right? So instead of just having, you know, the talking heads that are at every conference that you see everywhere, not to say that it's not valuable information, but but you know, the way that we look at it is that if I, you know, for me as a marketer, if I would rather listen to an in the trenches marketer telling me what they're doing to be successful than someone that may be a popular person that wrote a couple books that I follow, right? And so, you know, with that, we had in the trenches brokers that have, you know, built businesses, and we talked about systems and processes, marketing, sales, first time home buyer, I mean, everything. I basically found all the brokers to say, what can you be an expert in, and talk. I already knew the answer, but I wanted them to tell me. It's like, you tell me what you could talk about and do for half an hour, 45 minutes. And they're like, I'd love to talk about this. And what's unfortunate is a lot of these people don't get chances to speak at the standard conferences that are in our industry, because they've been kind of like, hey, we only want these people, we only want this subject. So this was open to anything. I said, tell me what you think you'd be interested in hearing, and then tell me what you could talk about. So this was for brokers, by brokers. Yes, we had a few people that, you know, like Barry Habib, of course, a local guy named Ryan Jenkins, who's just a great about, you know, marketing to the younger generations, and Christine Beckwith, right? Other than that, everyone else are, you know, active brokers, you know, building great stuff. And so, you know, just, we talked about everything. It was a great event. We've gotten, you know, all positive feedback about the event. They loved the fact there were no vendors and no sponsors, nobody like breathing down their necks at the bars, you know, the networking stuff. We kept it a community focus because we were limited to 150 people, right? So we did a Top Golf event, which people will tell you about the bus ride back. It's kind of a rough story.
Privately. They'll tell us privately about that.
They'll tell you privately about it. So, I mean, that was rough. You know, I didn't have that issue, but it was funny. It was great because, you know, honestly, everyone there is, you know, in essence, an extended family of me. You know, I was welcomed, you know, a few years ago into the broker channel from retail by, you know, Anthony Casa. And so I got to meet through him all these great people and great professionals. And it was great just to have everyone together, fellowship, breaking bread, having fun. And it was just a great event. It was just fun.
It's a pretty badass group of people, dude.
It is.
It really is. Yeah, you listed off some names there that, you know, we would consider top of their game. So, yeah, no question. And a lot of fun. And there is some real, genuine, you know, family kind of mentality that runs in those circles. So that's also really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I forgot to mention two things. Chris Griffith shaved his beard and his head at the event, all for charity, and we raised almost $500K for a charity on the spot within like 48 hours. And Jackie Dunlap freaking brought the house down with her, you know, with her TED Talk, and it was amazing. So I just want to give a shout because all the speakers, I know I missed some, but like everyone that participated was just excellent.
Okay, so we had Jason on the show, or Jason, we had John on.
Yes, we had Chris on the show 2 weeks ago. Chris on the show, yeah.
With very little hair and beard.
This explains why.
And now we know why. He didn't tell us why he'd done it. He just showed up wearing, you know, a quarter inch of hair on his scalp and a quarter inch of beard on his face. We're like, what happened to you?
He just kind of laughed. So
and he laughed, but now we know. So yeah, that's fantastic stuff. Good. And I'm assuming that this is not the end of the line. That you're going to have future events like this.
Yeah. So, for example, we're partnering with Christine Beckwith's Vision Summit coming up in Tampa here in, I think, 2 weeks, June 8th and 9th. And so June 8th, we're doing a one-day marketing mastermind called the Broker Success Mastermind. And joining me hosting that is Scott Shang, who, is an awesome marketer.
No, Scott's amazing.
He's the great, he's one of the greatest. And Andrew Pollock, CEO of Leapops, will be there. Chastity Graff and Ashley Miller. So we will be speaking. We'll be doing a mastermind. Everyone, the people that are going to the summit, it's going to be a big broker contingent that's going to the summit. They also get free access to the mastermind, and it really is going to be that. We're just going to be there. We have some topics we're going to talk about, but really one of the things we want to carry over from the summit is that we had a lot of questions from the audience about, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? So I figured what better way to extend that to the marketing side of it and have all these people come back together, and then we'll just do that. So we're going to do it from like 9 to 3. We're going to provide lunch. It's just a cool, immersive environment, and everyone gets to ask their questions. So if you have a marketing challenge, frustration, or just want to know more, I have brought everybody together. There's no way that not one of us will be able to answer any question that comes from marketing, and you get to hear directly from brokers. So we're doing the Broker Success Mastermind. We will be doing another summit at some point, but what we're going to do is these little masterminds throughout the country with brokers, talking about whether it's video systems and processes, how to hire, everything. Part of the feedback that we got is like, hey, how do I be a better leader, right? How to be a better manager? How do I coach up my people? So we're going to bring in speakers and experts that we find. Luckily, I've been fortunate enough to connect with a lot of amazing people in the mortgage community. So there really isn't one person that I can't talk to and call up on the phone and say, hey, we're doing this. Will you mind helping out? And of course, just like with the summit, everyone just is super excited to to give back to the community. So we'll be doing a lot more. Broker Success is here to stay. And we're going to do some more events to help brokers, not just, again, we want to get away from like the surface level crap. We want to help brokers build better businesses and be better leaders within the community.
Oh, wow, that is a big undertaking. Very cool stuff. Give us some highlights for our audience's sake, and obviously there may be a ton of people that are watching now in syndication, listening after this gets uploaded to the podcast. What kind of things should they be taking away from events like this? What kind of things did people take away from the event in Atlanta that they can immediately put to work? What kind of things are they going to get out of an event in Florida in June that they could immediately put to work? And obviously, as time goes on, these events will shape what you're doing with EPM, what you're doing with the rest of the community will solidify, sharpen, get fine-tuned. But for the average broker, I mean, obviously we talk about all the superstars in the industry, all these people that we run with, but for the majority of the brokers, what kind of things should they be looking to get out of events like this? What kind of things did people get out of your event in Atlanta? What kind of tools would they gain? What benefit would they get by participating in shit like this?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and one thing that I always say is like, and it's different for everybody, but I always say is just find one thing. You're going to hear a lot of great stuff. Take your notes, everything, but find one thing, and it also has to do with because you got to be honest with yourself. What are you going to be capable of executing, and what are you going to be committed to executing, right? So you got to find that one thing, and not everything, because here's the thing: you'll try everything, you'll do it all half-assed, you'll get overwhelmed, you'll get pissed, frustrated. And then it all sucks, and you won't do any of it, right? And that's the worst possible thing. So find the one thing, record it, and then move on to other stuff that excited you. But you find that one thing. I'll give you a perfect example of the one thing that people took away, and there's many things. But the one that I get the most feedback on was now Jackie Dunlap was rated our top speaker. But another speaker that was highly rated out of everybody, his name's Alan Christian, and he's actually a broker here in Georgia and Roswell. And so he talked about his strategy of getting his offer accepted, regardless of what it is, whether it's a VA, FHA. We all know the market conditions right now with cash, conventional versus government offers, right? Yeah. Now, he's had great success getting his offers accepted regardless of what they are. even competing against cash offers, even winning offers that were not the highest and best, right? And the reason he did it is by using a video strategy to talk directly to the listing agent and talk directly to the sellers, talking about how he's done all the upfront work, answering the questions, alleviate any fears, saying this is as good as a cash offer, talking about the reality of the pre-qual and how they aren't really worth a lot, no matter what the loan program is, and how that his are just as good as cash because all he needs are just he's already done the underwriting, already checked income, bank statement, everything, right? And he does the strategy and he's winning offers. Not only that, but other people are executing this and they're getting their offers accepted to where they were having challenges before. Now, it's not going to work in every circumstance, but just seeing the people post about the response from agents saying, well, this is cool, no other lender is doing this, and getting their offer accepted for their clients. And it's even creating relationships with listing agents. So I'm seeing the screenshots and the listing agents like, man, I wish my LO doesn't, do this. So like, let's talk about you helping out a couple buyers that I have right now. And so that's an example of the one thing you could take away. Chastity talked about, Facebook postings and how to get, more engagement. That was another thing. Sam Parker and Josh Lewis and Jamie Kavanaugh talked all about systems and processes. And so people took around like how to stack tech on top of each other, how to make it work with each other, how to automate things that you shouldn't have to do that take away from sales activities that you should be doing as a broker or business development activities that you should be doing as a broker. So, those are just a few things. I mean, obviously there's, you get a ton of content on these things, and it can be a little, it's drinking from a fire hose, but really as a broker, for me, it just really depends on where you are on your business. Like you may be great at business development, but you suck at marketing, right? Like it could be that you are great at marketing, but you suck at hiring, right? Like there's just, everyone's not the best at everything, right? And so really what I would do going to any event, right, especially ours, because ours are going to be about tactical takeaways, period. It's not going to be about listening to someone pontificate and vomit all over the stage about shit that you don't care about, right? Which happens at a lot of conferences, and no disrespect to anybody.
Most of them. But that's just the way it's always been.
There's no real true guy, or they have to kowtow to their vendors and their sponsors, and then they have to talk on stage, and you really don't care about that stuff either, right? And it's not our industry. It's just how conferences are, and it's just the reality. But for us, they're not, the cool thing about ours is they're not revenue generating events. We lose money on every single one of these that we do, but that's okay because we're not here to make money on these things. We're here to provide value. And the thing is that when your focus is value only, and there is no revenue or advertisement or anything else tacked into it, that's when you could get real with people, and that's when you could actually provide real takeaway value that doesn't have to be wrapped around anything else, right? And so that's what we're going to focus on, is giving people going to these events real information that they're going to be able to use in their business on, planning on their flight home, their drive home, whatever it might be. But that's the focus of broker success is really to help them at whatever blind spot they happen to have.
There could be quite a few of them. Might take some time to cover a lot of that content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that you're going anywhere. We've probably got years to go as far as that is concerned. Excellent.
Absolutely. Going nowhere.
And don't get me wrong, I wholeheartedly agree. I think the two things that have always, I've seen a lot of conferences that certainly fit into the mold of what you're describing, that 99% of them, globally, not just in our industry, are guilty of, whether it's thousands of people in the same room and somebody vomiting content on the stage in order to cater to sponsors, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to go deep into who is putting on crappy events like that, but they are. And I got tired of it. And this was really the catalyst for how we started our Mastermind event every fall. This September will be our 5th. The content was just garbage. And how do I put this? My biggest concerns were that these enormous conferences, and I'm sure this is true in every industry, not just ours, although I'm wearing blinders to just ours, is that we're attracting people who are desperate for help. They need some kind of good content in order to repair their business, get it going, whatever the case may be. And that they were literally targeting these people, the ones that are really struggling. Maybe even a ton of them that shouldn't be in whatever industry they're in anyway. And then when they get these thousands of people into a room, they try to sell them more shit they don't need and can't afford. And it just really started grinding with me. I was like, let's put together events where the content is amazing. People can walk away and put shit to use right away. And that the people that are attending the event are also badass because, you know, you do a 2-day conference, you're probably conferencing with people, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours a day when it comes to the actual content. And there are 24 of them in a day. What are you going to do with the others? 8 of them, you might sleep. Knowing this group that we run with, probably not. I'm going to say more like 2 to 4. But the other 8 hours, you really are hanging out with the other conference attendees, and are they as badass as the content? Because these are the people that I want to hang out with. These are the people that I want to bounce ideas off of. These are the people that I want to brainstorm with, mastermind with. So content and audience seemed the only 2 things to me that are really important when it comes to going to conferences, attending conferences. And obviously the event you guys did in March pretty much sums that shit up 100%. So good on you. I think hitting those 2 nails on the head is really the key factor. And of course, yeah, we're all kind of putting aside the fact that we're not putting on conferences that are, you know, breaking the bank. We're not making money. Let's not pull any punches. It's really for the greater good of the community than it is for, I don't know, there's this one particular individual that drives me nuts, and I can tell that all that money he makes from these thousands of people that attend his conferences is he spends them on really ugly suits. So we'll just end it there, but a lot of our audience knows who I'm talking about. So I do think that this is really kind of hitting the nail on the head. Can you give us some insight as to how people can find this next event? Short notice, but some of our audience may want to attend, and how they can track down future events that you're putting together?
Yeah, so we're actually developing kind of a new site for this because this was just something that we decided to do, and then like, hey, it's more of like ready, fire, aim on that bad boy, but that's our industry, right? That's how we do, right? Seat of our pants, right? So welcome to Mortgage. For this is the Vision Summit, so you could go to I always forget. I think it's 2020visionsummit.net is where you could go and register for the summit. Now we have our own link, so it's a little convoluted. So I'd rather just send you there. And then if you want to go to the Mastermind, register, buy a ticket, and then just let them know that, hey, I'm going to go to the Brokerage Success Mastermind, and they'll register you because we did this as a joint event. Now they plan their event, a year in advance. That we just happen to be like, hey, we're going to do this. And a lot of EPM is going to Christine's event anyway, so we figured, if you have an extra day, you're not doing anything for that night. What if we tack on our Broker Success Mastermind on top of it, since some of the same people are going, and try to make this a thing? And they're like, yeah, absolutely, let's partner up. Obviously, Christine being my Mortgage X partner, but that's so it just made sense for us to team up and do that. So I would just go now. You can also go to visionyoursuccess.net, but I believe the summit is 2020visionsummit.net, and then just go there and I think there's a VIP registration link at the bottom. Elite guest, all one word, will give you $100 off. And I hope to see you all in Tampa so we could mastermind, have some fun.
Very cool. Yeah, and I think that there's how do I put this? Credit where credit's due, just for, again, our general audience, the people that don't know you specifically, don't know who Christine is, don't know who all these other people that you've name dropped, because, this is our tribe. There's just no other way to put it, but if you don't know who these people are, if you're watching or listening and you don't know who these people are, you're cheating yourself. Jason is dropping names for some of the leading minds in the mortgage broker space. And these are people that are the leading minds because, one, they open themselves up to gaining all kinds of education, all kinds of information. They've all got this amazing abundance mindset, so they're willing to put a lot of that content back out there. Hey, I picked this up, 2 years ago at XYZ event. It made a huge difference in my business. It will for you too. Here it is. And these people are well aware, as you all should be, that there is more than enough business to go around if you're good at what you do. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of the fact that every one of these people has this abundance mindset, and where they are gaining their success, they're willing to share how they did it. That's a very, very big deal. All right. 100%. So what else are we going to, I know that we're not going to catch you at the Mile High Mastermind this fall, but a bunch of these people are going to catch you in Vegas. You're going to go crash Vegas that last weekend of September. Attaboy. Yeah, we've been to that event. Love it. Absolutely great event. Huge audience. Obviously tough to delve out the kind of content that way, but it is really cool. Kudos to UWM and their badass poolside reserved Bellagio catered open bar party. I remember the last one I went to was the first day UWM funded $1 billion in a day. $1 billion in a day. And yeah, boy, that party must have set them back $250,000. I don't know, but it was a really nice event. They were very, very generous with their community. Let's put it that way.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, they certainly were. But again, here we're talking about an organization that will bring in any frickin' broker in the country to their operation in Detroit and say, hey, here's what's made us successful. Let us teach it to you. And they'll do it. They'll fly you out to Detroit and show you the entire operation inside and out, A to Z, which is exactly what we're trying to do here. So, yeah, good on them as well. Jen, what am I missing other than I can see the, wink, wink, we're coming up on our 30 minutes here.
Right, that went quick. Now, do with all of these events and what kind of speakers you bring on stage. And I love that you guys have so many female speakers on stage. I have to give you a shout out for that. That you're giving people a stage to use their voice that they might not otherwise have the opportunity, and they're all rock stars. I mean, we're all lucky enough to know them on a personal level, but these are all some badass people in the mortgage space. So anyone listening, definitely take advantage of learning from these people. It's a gift, to say the least.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was, it's funny because we kind of rushed that. We really put that conference together in like a month and a half, or the summit together in like a month and a half. And, shout out to Salim Sabri for help, and thanks to AIM for helping out, with the event as well. And, it came together, but that's why we rushed it, is because that was International Women's Month, and we rushed it, and we made a conscious effort to have more women speakers than men, because everyone always talks about like, look, and I know a lot of people can read into that one way or another, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. Like until you put your money where your mouth is, you're just talking, right? And everyone's like, well, we need more inclusion, we need to do that. The cool thing about this is sometimes you do it, but it's at the detriment of the event, right? This was not the case. It's like, I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Like women speakers? That was like the easiest thing for me to do, because, like Adam said, we are connected to a bunch of badass people. And so like I had no problem finding plenty. In fact, a lot of them, I could have kept going, to be on stage to talk, because they are experts and mortgage professionals, men and women. But we had these great women speakers on there, and we did want to give a platform for that. But you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. There was ultimate value, and we did that knowing that the change has to start from within the industry. And we got to stop talking about a lot of these things. We got to start doing it.
Love that.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Well, Jason, again, thank you for being here. It's obviously a real treat for us, and we kind of get to focus on some of the things that we do in our business and the people that we know, and it's It's like having a phone call with an old friend. It's really good stuff that way. All right, Jen, take us home.
All right, if you are watching, then you'll see our text code at the bottom of the screen. If you're listening, it is text TIPS, TIPS, to 63566. We talked a lot about events today on the show. Our big Mastermind event is coming up in September 24th and 25th. We are really excited about the content, lots of hands-on. Love what Jason was saying about pick one thing. There'll be lots of things, lots of actual activities that we will teach you at the event, how to edit video, how to get a bigger or a presence at all on Clubhouse or TikTok or LinkedIn or whatever you want to use. We're kind of going to present a bunch of those options, but you can get the link to get a ticket from our text code. You can also get a copy of Adam's book, Just the Tips. You can get a free hour of coaching with us and links to our podcast, which is on Apple and Spotify.
And as I'm thinking about this event we're doing in September, I think you set it up where the majority of our speakers are women too.
It is a lot of women.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of running through the agenda in my head. What little of it I can remember, it's going to be a fairly intense 2 days, but cool. All right, well, Jason, thank you again for being here, man. Let's get you on the show again as soon as we can. We love doing this. It'll probably end up being next summer at this point, if I'm not mistaken, Jen. We're about 13 months out, 14 months out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm not doing this more than once a week. Forget it. I'm not speeding up that time.
All right.
But yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I am ecstatic that you're having such great success in Atlanta, and hopefully we'll get to see you soon.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm bummed I'll miss you guys at the Mastermind, but you guys are doing a great job, and again, I appreciate you having me on.
Likewise. All right, I'm going to run the extra. You guys stay put. For those of you watching or listening live in syndication, thanks for tuning in. And you can catch us every morning at 10:30 Mountain Time for another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. We'll talk to you later.